Okay, this is the girl we're working on today. This is High Octane, Raquel Welch High Octane in the color Iced Latte Macchiato. I thought reviewers have said that that color is close to Shaded Biscuit. I'm not seeing any resemblance at all. So what we're going to do, she's ugly. So we are going to straighten everything out today to see whether she needs thinned or how much she needs thinned or where she needs thinned. And then eventually come back in and put a much softer wave back into her. I've already got her pinned through the ear tabs and 2 at the nape. If I wasn't going to thin, I would put the wave back in at the same time that I'm straightening. I can feel that she's quite rough on the ends. Anyway, I want to see what she looks like straight first before I decide what to do from there. I like to take really thin, small strands because then the heat gets through it to refurbish it better. So we've come through with our wide tooth comb. We're going to come in and get a small section. Oops, our T-pin came out. I always use my Launch flat iron at 320 degrees is what we're going to start. She still has a few tangles at the bottom, so we're going to go through the bottom again. Try to keep my hands out of the way so you can see what we're doing. And I always come back in through with my fine tooth comb. So you can see that it's going to make her seem longer than she started with. Oh my goodness, she's got the nasties down there. And sometimes if you can't get them all combed out, you just have to go and heat it first and then comb, because this literally melts the fibers back to where they belong. The only reason I put my hand there is so it doesn't drop down and I have to go pick it up again. So I can see and hear still tangles in the bottom. So I'll come through again. Going a little bit slower towards those ends because that's where they needed a little bit more help. And I will do that as many times as it needs so that I can feel it completely smooth. I can feel one right there where my thumb is. And several on the bottom. Better. It still needs a pinch on the bottom. nice. So you can see how many passes that took just to get the crinkles out of one section. So you can see how time consuming something like this would be. However, if you're going to redo her curls, go in here and refurbish, smooth out every single strand, because then it will last you longer. And there's no point in putting a new curl in her if she's still going to have those tangled crinkles at the bottom. Can't see if you can see me or not. So I do that until that comb goes through there nice and I don't see any or feel any. I tried to move the camera angle so my arm wouldn't be in the way all the time, but I think no matter where the camera is, my arm's going to be in the way. Unless I learn to do something differently. Ooh, that's nice. So can you see what a difference it's going to make in the length of her? And I don't like to take it pretty good. I like to take it until there's no crinkles. Coming in with your wide tooth comb first to get the big tangles. Can you see? Am I close enough? Still have that on 320 degrees. That seems to be a good temperature. It's doing what I need it to do. I just sometimes have to take an extra pass, not because of the temperature of the heat, but because the ends were pretty tangled and crinkled. Oh, I still felt a tiny one at the bottom. I went a little slower on that one because it was not smooth. And by taking the finer, thinner strands, you're getting heat on both sides when you come down with your flat iron. I will come back when I get higher up. Here we go again. This is still Raquel Welch High Octane in SS Iced Latte Macchiato. I'm refurbishing her for a client, and seems like there's some product on the front edges, so I have to keep stopping to clean the curling iron. I've reminded you before, remind you again, always, always, always have your hands clean. Don't pet the animals and work on your wigs. Don't put lotion on and work on your wigs. Clean. The cleaner your hands are, the cleaner your wig will stay. And that goes for also when you're wearing it. I like to make sure that either your hair or scalp, if you don't have any hair, is clean. It will keep your wig cleaner longer. Anyway, you can see that she's looking nice. Combs straight through. I'm thinking we might not need to thin her. But look what a ratty mess that is above there. So yes, I had to stop a couple of times to clean the product. There's some product somewhere, I think closer to the front. I'm getting into product, so I'm trying not to do those. And you don't want product built up on your irons because it will cause drag. So those pieces I'm clipping out, and I will have to stop and give her a bath. I wanted to get as much done before I did that first. But you do not, and I did have to take it up to 340 degrees because it was just taking too many passes at 320. What was I going to say? Oh, you do not want product on your hair when you're using tools for two reasons. You don't want to bake the product on the hair, and you don't want the product baked onto your flat irons. I love, love, love this one. And it seems like it's been discontinued at Lange. But I did find one at Ulta. I might have to go pick up a spare. They're expensive. I believe it was $120. And that same price at Ulta. Comb out the big tangles first. Then I come back in with a fine tooth comb to make sure I've got out all the tangles. Ooh, that one went nice. I need to show you how I put that in there again. So I bring the iron in where my fingers are because then there's no hairs in the way. Then I go up and clamp. I'm not putting any kind of bevel or any kind of turn in this because we want to see what it looks like first. perfect. I love working on this tripod like this because I can sit while I'm doing it. And what else? Oh, I can move it with my feet. That's kind of nice. If you can't get out all those tangles at the bottom, did I get too far away from you? If I can't get all those tangles out at the bottom before I pass over it, you can go ahead and just pass over it, and that will kind of help soften them and melt them so that you can get them on the next pass. Again, I'm going just a little bit longer on the bottom ends than the top area because that's where it needs more. Still feel it? Again, fine, thin strands so the heat can go through both sides. I can still feel it and hear it. Be gentle when you're trying to comb out that mess like that. You don't want to pull too much and have one snap up and make it into a crinkle. Never brush heat defiant wigs. Only a wide tooth comb. I like to try to live with them without product on them as much as possible. So I'm still working this back area that does not seem to have product on it. Well, that was nice. See if there's even just one little wavy hair under there. That's what's nice if you're going from wavy to straight. You can see where every single one is. Get them all. If you miss one, that can be the one that causes tangles before she's due to be done again. And yes, that does make your shoulders hurt. That's why wigs are nice. You can stop what you're doing and leave the room. I'm still too far away, am I? And no, I'm not always going right up to the cap because, couple reasons. First of all, shouldn't have any tangles in there. Second reason is I like to wear them a little bit with a little fullness in them, so I don't want to go too close and to get all that fullness out. I can feel that drag there. We're going to have to stop and go shampoo. What was I saying? Oh, but if a client wanted less fullness, you would take that right up close to the cap to straighten it. It's really not going to make too much difference with the permatease, but it can make a little. Okay, we're going to stop there and go shampoo. 340 degrees because 320 just wasn't cutting it. I take fine, thin sections because you want the heat to hit the hair on both sides. I go a little slower towards the ends because on this particular piece, they're really needing it. And make sure you get every single hair. I'm kind of OCD about that. Because if you don't, it's going to feel like tangles when you're done. There can be that one hair in there that encourages everybody else to tangle. I'm only holding my hand back there so that I don't drop this piece in the rest of the hair and have to go find it again. See, almost, but I can see right there and feel the crinkles. Better. And when I say better, yes, better than she was, but I'm not impressed with the fibers like I am with my Beltress. Just saying. Sometimes if you hit a stubborn one and it doesn't seem to want to come out, you could go ahead and hit it with heat. And that will soften it so you can go back in and get it again. Where's that one coming from? Sorry, my arm's in your way. You might have to look underneath it. Still working on the top. Now, from this point, this is the crown, I bring these little sections and I drop them back. Again, if I'm bringing them back like this, might give a little bit more fullness than if they were dropping to the side, or you never want to drop them forward, I guess is what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Yes. Because we all have enough face floppers in our life. So I will still take it straight up because I want to encourage that kind of up as it's cooling. But now when I drop them down, I can drop them down out of my way and keep going. See how it gives it a little? I hate to say it, but I Windexed these girls for 30 minutes and I can still feel that product on there. It's not gunking up my curling iron, but can you see that little bit of smoke? That's that product. So she will probably have to have another spa day, concentrating more Windex in this area. I thought I had her drenched. Some products I have found, specifically L'Oreal Root Spray. I have not been able to get that out with absolutely anything at all. So she hangs in my room just mocking me to remind me never to ever do that again. I had root sprays in several colors. See how that little, isn't that nice? I had several root sprays in several colors. I gave them away to a local salon so that I never ever, because I literally ruined the wig that I used it on. Luckily, it was an old wig that I cut for hat hair. Good thing it wasn't, $600 hand-tied wig. I would have been some kind of mad there. If you just let that dry like that, give a little bit more. Even though we both felt like this was very thick to start with, I have learned the hard way not to thin a wig with my first impression, like taking her out of the box from the manufacturer and just putting her on a blockhead and thinning her. Because sometimes she's so curly or so crinkled and tangled that it gives you the illusion that she's too thick. So the one that I did that to, once I straightened her like this and recurled her, now she's a little bit more on the thin side. Not a problem though, because she's my summer hair. And I don't mind having her a little less dense for the summertime. See, that's still not leaving product on my iron, which is good. I don't know if you can see. Maybe turn that way. So, moral of that story is I hold all judgment. I don't thin anything until I've already flat ironed it. Because now she does not feel too thick at all. It's just all those thick curls and tangled crinkles that made her feel that way. Make sure when you've got her pinned on here, make sure that you've got all the little pieces out from underneath. Otherwise, if that had been tucked in, you get all finished and then you have a piece that you missed. And the ones around the face, in addition to the ones at the neckline, they tend to get a little bit more tangled and crinkled because you're kind of always moving them out of your face, moving them when the wind blows. I'm going to straighten these bangs first, and then when I want bangs in something, I will come back with a larger curling iron. Looking for it right now. I will come back in with, this is a 2-inch. I'll either come in with a 2-inch or a 1.5 inch. This brand. I like this brand, 1.5 inch. But we tried this on her the other day and it didn't work. We'll probably have to use this 2-inch one because it seems to work better on my heat friendly. But for now, we're just going to straighten them. And I'm going to go straight up with them. Again, be very careful not to get close to that lace front. She did crimp that lace front, so I will go in there and put fray stop on it. If you're going to cut, or if you ever do find a little tear or something in your delicate lace, put some fray stop on it. You can get it at a fabric store or probably Amazon. You can get everything on Amazon. So I'm going to let that cool like that before we decide what to do from here. This is Raquel Welch High Octane in the color Iced Latte Macchiato. She has been shampooed, conditioned, used Windex to strip the product first, and I have completely smoothed all the ends out. She was not too thick, so she does not need thinned at all. She's a good density. So anyway, I will get her clipped up and come back and show you how I'm putting in a wave. I'm not getting too curly in here because we still have layers that are dropping down and she'll end up being really bulky. So I keep the underneath smoother. This is Raquel Welch High Octane in Iced Latte Macchiato. I've already done the Windex to get the product off. I have shampooed and conditioned. Now we're going back in to put some loose waves. I preheat the strand by coming down it, even though I've already done this the other day. seems like it wants that much heat before it'll take a curl. Then I grab that and twist that with my hand. I'm liking this so much better. I was having a heck of a time to get those waves to do what I wanted, but look how nice. This is still Raquel Welch, high octane in the color Iced Latte Macchiato. I've thinned from the monotop down. I'm working in the monotop now, so I've got this mannequin leaning back. Can you see that? See, she's leaning backwards. I kind of hold my finger there to hold that tail up, pulling it down, and there we go. Trying to turn this so you can see what I'm doing. Took me a while to get my rhythm. I won't kid you. And sometimes I go one direction, then I go the other direction. Whoops, and sometimes it doesn't work. Anyway, by going two different directions, they don't all clean together and clump up together. Okay, that one just doesn't want to go that direction. So we'll go the other direction. Better. Sometimes I find that if my strands are too thick, they don't want to do what I want to do. This is my launch at 320 degrees flat iron. This is very thick and heavy up here, but I'm not going to thin it until I see how and where it falls. If you're going to practice curls yourself, I would always practice underneath first. Whoops, that one, I got the wrong angle. And when you get it, you need to make sure that you're kind of getting that angle and doing a smooth all the way down. And sometimes it still doesn't work. I'm going to take it thinner. This is Raquel Welch High Octane in the color Iced Latte Macchiato. wigs tend to have flyaways. That is their nature. But if you look at bio hair, so does it. I like to control the flyaways with, got to be glue, styling gel. Some people use this to glue their lace fronts. I use it as a styling product and maybe put a little water on my hand too. Okay, so here's how I do it. I take just the tiniest, that's not even a whole drop. Usually I use less than that. And put it together with your fingers like this if you're going to do flyaways. And then I'll add a little spritz of water to that to kind of even dilute it a little more. Then you can come in there, those flyaways that are touching your cheek and bothering your cheek. You can even use it to hold that up out of the way. I'll even use it to pinch my bangs where I want them, or move that little piece of the bang out of the way. Now, you can come back in after it dries and comb through those, and it'll give them a little memory. If you really, really feel like you have to use hairspray, this is the one I like on wigs, Pantene Air Spray 3. It seems to comb out nicely without feeling like it has a product on it. But now again, and you can add a little bit more water to your fingers, reactivate that if you still have those on your cheeks. And if you let that dry on your hands, it will dry absolutely clean. If you're trying a new product and it dries clean on your hands, it's going to be clean on your wig. Now, that being said, I have never put heat on an area that I have this on, and I would probably not do that, advise against that. Hope that helps.